All right. So yeah, let's see the BurpSuite. So BurpSuite usually a kind of like a toolkit only for testing web application, mostly the security layer. So it's like a proxy, intercepting proxy they call, or something like this. So all traffic between client and the server is captured. It can be inspected. It can be modified also. It can be replied like. So in a way, it sits between the client and sender. Any request is coming from client. It will store. It will inspect. It will modify if needed to. It will reply like depends. So this is how this looks like. Both requests HTTP, HTTPS, website sits in localhost proxy and the web server. And the reverse also same. The server response, the traffic flows back through BurpSuite the same way that client does. So main components, these are some of the main components of the BurpSuite. So let's say this is the BurpSuite, right? We have these tabs. These are the main components we can say. Let's see one by one. So the first one is of course proxy. That is the core feature of the BurpSuite. So basically, proxy means like a middleman. You sit between two people and you send messages from one to another. While sending the message, you also have the capacity to modify if you want to in real time. Like imagine somebody whispers you a message, you want to send it to other person. You can reply the same message, or I mean, you can tell them the same message, or you can modify the message. So that is where the testing comes. What if you modify the message, how you react? What if you, do certain things? Maybe sometimes attacker also might use it, to do some harm things. But yeah, so proxy tab is the main tab. If you see proxy tab, so you have an option of intercept off and on. So intercept off means like you are turning it off, that proxy. Intercept on means you can see here, if you turn on the intercept on, which means you are basically listening to the messages. The messages coming from the browser and server are stored in the BurpSuite. If you turn it off, then obviously it's normal only. So that's a proxy. That's main feature. Then there is a target. Target means it's more like a so we can see it like live only instead of theoretical. So there is an intruder. Intruder is more like attacking purposes people use. There is a repeater. A repeater is more like manual testing, manually tweak and send the request. There is sequencer, like randomness, comparer. So we'll see live only. No need to see the theory. Typical use cases, obviously penetration testing. You can find the vulnerabilities in a web app. For example, you can inject SQL, you can do an SQL injection and see if it's possible. You can do XSS attack, CRSF attack. So these are some of the popular attacks. You can also check API security. Uh, you know, depends on the API. There is a REST API, there is a GraphQL API. So of course, mobile app testing session. So different use cases. For our request, we can do these two for our thing. One is testing common vulnerabilities. The another one is API testing, or obviously learning the verb suite, like as from learning standpoint. Community, some are free, some are professional, you have paid, you have advanced features mostly. Yeah, so finally, the summary is BurpSuite acts as a man in the middle testing proxy uh, to uh, to sit in, I mean, like between client and server. The BurpSuite sits there. Every request you get, it will be inspected, can be modified. Every response also comes. It can be, uh, stored, inspected, and give it to the client. And it's some extra features. Let's see live only. I open BurpSuite. The first thing is I go to proxy. If it is not on, I mean, If it is not on, just turn it on, this button. And you can see something like a web browser here. So I'll just click that in browser. Okay. You can see it's opening Chromium browser. You can see I can enter a website here. Now, before I do that, let me go to target. You can see target, there is nothing. Dashboard also nothing. Everything is empty. All are empty. Now let's enter our website. So we have our own web app. I mean our platform. Okay, you can see I made a request. Now I go to BurpSuite. Now you see in target, you can see that I'm using this URL, and these are all the requests I made. So these are get requests. So there are four types of requests: get, post, put, delete. Get request means to get some data, mostly static data, let's say, like image, icon, something like that. Post request means to send some data to the server. You can see. You can see each request, there is a response here. You can see request tab here, response tab here. For each request, you can click, you can see response. Yeah, some things are very simple. It's a static JSON, JavaScript page. This is just PNG image. This is the ICO image icon. This JSON file. So let's make actual API. So I'll enter some data. Let's say I'll enter something like some dummy data. Let's do something. Just cyber Degen Den XYZ. Password, enter wrong password. And I click sign me in. I clicked it. Of course, I get the wrong credentials. Now, if I go back, here you can see there is one more server. You can see there is something called post request. You can see the request is this. I enter email ID, password, and I got the response, wrong credentials. So that is this request. So this is the request URL. This is the request payload. This is the response payload. I can see everything. In fact, I can also color it. Let's say maybe I can color it something like red, example, just to, you know, you see all data is stored, JSON, timestamp, and everything. So this is very basic. Like you can see requests, you can see response, everything on one go. You can also do the same thing on the inspect tab also. But problem is like, let's see if one more time I do it. You can also see, you can see same idea, payload request, response. But this is temporary. The minute I refresh the page or do something else, it will be gone. But here, it's permanent. Permanent means, I mean, I can save it or I can see, I can do it like. Yeah, so that's very basic idea. So you turn on the proxy, you go to the target. I mean, you open the browser, of course, you visited a web app, and in the target, you could see what request it's doing. Very simple, very straight. Now let's do another tab, repeater. Let's see what happens in the repeater. So usually repeater means you have to send a request to repeater. So I'll make this right click. I'll say send to repeater. You can see it's turned orange. I click on it. Now that request is forwarded to the repeater. Repeater means I can do manual testing by changing the data. For example, I'll change it. You can see I change the password here and I can send a request. You can see still I get the response wrong. So I can change this is a manual, repeater means manual testing. Like manually I can change something Send a request. Response is congratulations. Since I know the password, so let me tell you a password also. Again, this is a test account, so obviously it's fine to open public. When I send it, you can see I got a response saying that a login success. So this is what repeater means. Repeater means you can take one request from target, I mean from the these any of the API requests, and you can modify the data manually, and you can send a request to the server and get the response. This is manual level testing. Like you can change email ID, you can change password, you can change method. You have the option to change the metadata. You can change the metadata also, like I mean the payload data. So that's a
So
manual.
will this,
Yes.
sorry, this will work on all websites or only
Yes,
this
all
particular
websites.
website?
No,
Yeah,
no, all websites only.
in fact.
But depends on the.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, it does work on all websites.
And it depends on their security whether they allow it or not.
So again, usually the general idea is it should work on all websites if they are
Mhm.
following very the idea of requesting some data, responding some data. It will work definitely. But what people will do is like they obfuscate, which means they create more complexity. So other people cannot even decode the information. So it depends on who's smarter actually. But if you look at the any web application, most of them are very much it will work like so the same way that it's working here. So yeah, so that's the idea. You can see maybe a couple of other websites as well. Like maybe you can try Instagram is very high level, but we can try first. We'll try to understand with this website, then we can do maybe other websites if you have any particular login websites. So that's the idea for the repeater. Now let's see intruder. So again, repeater, I can only do one by one test. But let's say, what if I want to do 10 different passwords? I'm checking 10 different passwords, example. I cannot manually do 10 times. I mean, 10 times easy. But let's say if I want to do 100 times, 100 times I want to change these 100 times I have to run. That's very manual. To automate it, we use intruder tab. So first I go to target. I send this request to intruder. Right click, send to intruder. Now I come to intruder. The same request comes here to the intruder. You can see there are like some attacks like uh, now what I do is I select this password term and I add something like add. You can see something changed. These symbols are added. Now here I can give bunch of passwords. I can add one by one. Let's I give something like this. Test example. I'm just making that test 1 2 3 example. Hello. Example, 5 different passwords I can give. Now, when I say I click on start attack, it will try each password on this particular field because I selected that field. It will make 5 requests. Uh, First request is with this password, second request with this, third request this, fourth, fifth. Of course, I can add as I want, or I can load a file also if I have. Yeah, let me try it. So I'll try the attack, start attack. Okay, this is just a idea, but okay. If you open it, what is that? Here you can see. Here you can see it tried each password. It tried this password. It got response, wrong credentials. It tried this password, wrong credentials. Now it tried this password. That's the right password actually. I can see login success. So in a way, you can kind of like brute force, not brute force, but you buy a bunch of passwords to test. and you give it all passwords to try. So this is what kind of intruder attack. Like you're trying all possible password, I mean all passwords that you enter. It will make requests for each password one at a time. Of course, if you want to change this also, you can do the same thing. Select it, add, and you can give different what do you call like content. So, for example, different email IDs. It will try all the email IDs, all passwords, mix and match and everything. So in a way, you can automate this process of trying all these passwords or all the usernames or email IDs. Simple as that. Or we can clear it. Clear all. Yeah. Yeah, you can either select this. Let's say I select this. And let's say I try these usernames like attack. It's okay. This one. Yeah, you can see it's trying email now. So obviously email don't have. Usually response is mostly long credentials. Everything is wrong. Close it. I'll close this also. Yeah, so that is how you can modify the request, and I mean modify the data, payload data, and send a request, and get the response, and automate it. So repeater is one time, intruder is many times. So that's the idea of repeater and intruder. So this is the request URL. This is the request payload data. Of course, you can add any data you like, but again, it depends on the how the web application is created. So you cannot make assumption that every web application runs in the same way. I mean, the process is same, but these keyword parameters, these may not same. These completely, they might be completely different, like. But the idea is same: payload, request, response. All of the idea is same. Idea doesn't change, but these keywords, exact keywords, will change. The way they use the login information is different. Again, it depends on various applications, like. Since we know our application, I'm just testing it. We obviously test it. We obviously do it. Uh, we will test it using BurpSuite only. Try different possible ways to try and attack and see what happens. Similarly, we can try any other web application if you know anything that requires login. So usually Instagram we can try, but Instagram is very broad. So let's try it anyway. Instagram. So let's go to target. You can see Instagram. So you see when I visited Instagram, Facebook is also created, something like that. So usually Instagram guys, I mean, these are big guys. Obviously, they are like. So what I do, I'll just delete it. You can delete a host, something like this. But they do so many things, you will get confused. We can only focus on the username and password. It's enter the username, something like this. Password, enter something, login. You can say obviously I get it wrong. So I go here and I check. You see these are Ajax URLs. Yeah, you can see. So let's hide all of the information. Yeah, you can see it's sending something. You can see this is the data, and you get the response something. You can see encrypted password. The password is not sent like normal. You can see username. This is my username I entered, but the password is completely encrypted. I cannot see it, and some other extra information. So this is the actual request for the login. And the response you get, you can see response is something like user equal true, authenticated or false, status is okay. Again, you don't know what they mean by that, like, because it's their language to understand. But you can see the response is very much very same format as we know. Now I can take this request and I'll make it like, which one is this or this? Let me see. Oh, this one. I can send it to the repeater. Repeater comes. Now here I can change something. It's instead of username of this, I'll give something test and I'll make a request. You can see the output is invalid credentials or something. User invalid credentials. So anyway, I made one request, one attempt from my BurpSuite. So password, of course, this password is encrypted. So you should know what encrypted they use. You can see password Instagram browser, etc., etc. But I'll get some idea from ChatGPT what this means. I'll copy everything. It will tell you some information. Yeah, this is the method and request everything. I can see encrypted password. This is not a plain password. It's a client-side encrypted payload. Uh, Usually sensitive information like passwords should be encrypted, obviously. Uh, like how this password encrypted, like can we try decoding? Usually it tells that obviously we are doing something just for learning purpose only. So there is like a key exchange. When you load the login page, the server provides a short-lived public key. For example, in RSA, we talked about encryption, decryption. Uh, and the client side, the JavaScript takes the password you type and uses the public key to encrypt it, which means we cannot decrypt it because the one who has the private key, they only can decrypt it. That is the Instagram guys. So in a way, I know the public key. I know my password. I mean, since I entered the password, obviously I know it, but generally somebody can see that password encrypted, but they cannot decrypt it. Like Rapid Explore, say that is what this looks like. Maybe they use some sort of protocol version, some timestamp. This is base 64 ciphertext. On server side decryption, they do it. If they have the private key, then check the private key and decrypt it. And that's how they use yeah, so they use asymmetric encryption. Public key encrypts, private key decrypts. Yeah, something like that. So if you have interest, we what we can do is we can understand the public key where the public key is received as a response. Let's look at all the previous responses. I think I cleared it. Uh, yeah, cleared the responses, but there is a public key. Somehow we got response, and using that public key, we can encrypt the message, but we cannot decrypt it. No, when you load the login page only, you'll get the public key. That was not there, but let me try one more time. Copy, delete, yes, screw, reload. Hmm, Let's see. Yeah, and you have to manually check and everything, verify. It's very hard to do, but let's see. Yeah, so many requests is sent. You can see these all are requests on one go. Like when you load the page, these many requests are coming in. Somewhere you might see the public key. It's easy only. Public key is not a big deal to catch. Since it's public, it's public. Somewhere it might be there. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so this is how again, this is for learning purpose only. We're not trying to attack Instagram, obviously. No, it's very difficult to attack Instagram in a way. But yeah, that is how you can make requests. You can send them to repeater. You can manually test it by changing the thing, or you can send the same request to the intruder also, and you can do multiple username test and see what happens. Let's say you know the password is right, but you don't know the username. Example, let's say you can try all possible usernames that syncs with that password. Then in a way you try to break in. It's not ethical, I mean, but just for testing only, I'm just telling you, like, yeah, this is old only, so I can relate. Yeah, I can send this request, but this request is deleted. So let me go to target. We delete one more time. Let me go here, enter something, enter something, login, come here, go somewhere here. Now this one. This is the request. I can let's mark it red. I can send this to let's say repeated first. The repeater I can change like usernames, example, right? Send a request. Yeah, still bad. Now send the same request to intruder and to intruder. Okay. Now intruder here. Now you select this, you add it, and you try all possible names. Yeah, example, we are just making it up. Again, we're not attacking Instagram. Obviously, these are dummy databases. We're just testing only a few passwords, not attacking or neither do anything. So I'll just simply do attack. You can see it's trying all these passwords. You can see username changing, but most all of them will get the false authentication. All authentication false, obviously. So that is how you can test a web application for any kind of feature, but we're trying for mostly login feature. But you can try for any other feature as well, not necessarily login feature. Like so login is one post request, but there can be many other requests to do any task. Yeah, in our web app only, let's say we are doing login, but after login also we can do like a lot more. Like for example, let's see, say login, test 1, 2, 3. You can see when I logged in, I go back here, you can see there are a bunch of requests. Get class. These are classes, all classes. Here you can see classes, right? Cybersecurity classes, like the same classes are right here. Or map demo, cybersecurity, routing table, etc., etc. So that is the request. This is the response. Now I can send this request. Which one? This one, I think. I'll mark it yellow maybe. I can send this to repeater. Now I can, since I know this ID, then I can change this to maybe something else. Uh, get class, get students, get maybe I can do something. But let's try something like get next class also we can try. I can say just copy. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Get notification. Again, this is something I know it. That's why. But if you don't know it, your first job is to know how a web application works first. Then only you could do try a lot more things. So can I say get students to get all student details? Usually the method is not there, but let's see. Hmm. So just like the method is not there. Again, it depends on you should know how a web application is running, what it's accepting. You cannot attack something that you don't understand. You have to understand the application first, then only you can find different ways to attack it. Or test it. Testing and attacking in this context very similar. But yeah, so that's the idea of the BurpSuite. You can try different websites and track their request response. Try simple things, maybe little complex thing. Sequencer and decoder is very easy only. You will just add a text, just decoding the text into different formats. Uh, base 64, whatever, like encoding, decoding techniques, these are. So they might be used, but it's not. Logger is very much everything logs. It's a blogging book. It's nothing to explore. Comparer also, it's like two different data. You can see, you can compare word by word and see what happens. Uh, yeah, but mostly intruder is the one that you might use, and of course target, inspect all the request response. So that's a big future. The dashboard is more like all the things one by one. You can see we did intruder attack, intruder attack, intruder attack. We did so collaborator, which means mostly for the other applications you can try. For example, HTTP, all these guys. But this is not a community, so we'll see maybe when we get the professional version. Yeah, so that's all the BurpSuite you should know. There are many things you can explore. I'm pretty sure. WebSockets are a different thing compared to HTTP traffic. Mostly for the chat data, like messages, like chat messages and everything. Uh, the other tabs also you can just explore a bit. It's easy only. Yeah, don't think so. So these are bunch of issues detected by BurpSuite scanner. You can see these are like a lot of things, but it's very generalized of all entire web guys. Python, Ruby, Perl, PHP. It's like so many things are there. So SSL injection, cross-site scripting. So you can see they will tell you like detailed idea how that works. Since we know SQL injection, we know it. We can try it. You can see they tell you something like this. So it's like definitions. What are the issues and why? Usually there are proxy settings. I don't think you need to do anything here unless you want to add. But since you're a beginner, obviously you don't need to touch any of these components. Leave as you can see. Yeah, leave as you can see. That's it. But the more you understand a web application, you can change these rules. You can automate some of the rules. You can catch some of the rules. But it depends on how much you know the web app. Yeah, so that's pretty much about about BurpSuite. Any questions, anything maybe I can take.